Yo, how's everyone doing? It's Omondi Juma, and we're back. The ringside seat is back, and boy, I'm excited. I've got some special guests, so tune in. Yo, welcome, man. It's Friday, 9 o'clock, and I'm just going to go around because there's some new faces here that you probably haven't seen before on the show. But first of all, we'll start with my big but little brother, Kahinde, the big-chested giant down there. How you doing, bro?
Yeah, good, bro, good, man. Happy to be back on the show.
You've been down the gym, you've been doing some martial
Yeah,
arts.
I've been in the gym this week, so I've been back at it, you know.
Because you're out angling the whole camera, man. Next to him, I'm so pleased about this because, like, I got my man Beej. We say BJ, but Brian, how are you doing? Brian is like, Beej. Brian to me is like a big brother to me. Sorry, Zico, but you know, Brian is like a big brother to me. He's so wise. So respectful, and we've got to know each other over the years, and I've got ultimate respect for him. He's given me so much good advice. Sometimes pick up the phone and give me, you know, good big brother talking to. And I've got nothing but respect for this guy. You will see when he's on the show, when it comes to boxing, when it comes to sport, when it comes to all life in general. This is the man. This is the man I look up to. Welcome, Brian.
Getting beaten up by life.
Yes.
I wouldn't try it.
Well, welcome to the show, Brian. You like boxing apparently? So tell us about your experience with boxing.
What I first want to say is thank you, Zach, for inviting me on the show. Because not really. Look, very happy to be on the show. You yourself, Zach, you know me for a while. Like you said, your introduction actually took all the words out of my mouth. So thank you for making my job easy. Love my boxing, love my sports, moving into a lot of MMA at the moment, and very happy to be amongst your brother and Robert, you know, little local legend to be. Is it Swindon you're in now?
No, Buckinghamshire.
Buckinghamshire. For some reason, I thought he was Swindon, and I thought he's still alive, so he's doing well.
So for those that don't know,
that's me. We'll have a good chat. You know, the spirit is good in this room. So I mean, I even had a wash and a shave and a spruce up, so I'm even smelling good. So it's all going to work out nicely.
I love it. So final guest. I don't know how to introduce this guy. Let me just say this. My granddad used to play cards with his dad. In it, Zeke, you know?
Yeah.
I come home robbed. And he always used to do like, you know it is with the Caribbean boys like that. I know his brother really well, and Robbie has just been a local legend. I mean, top class guy, top boxer. Boxing's a hard sport, but sometimes the amount of talent you have to have back in and Celtics and everything else. But in West London, Robbie is the man. One of the nicest guys you're ever going to meet. One of the best, still skillful boxers you're ever going to meet. And he's putting all his investment back into the sport as well. So I want to introduce local legend, boxing hero, my hero too, Robert Lloyd Taylor. How you doing?
I tell you, there's a lot of brother talk going on, and then when it comes to him, I'm not referred to as a brother.
You're one of the family. You're one of the family, man. We have to get your brother on, you know. Robert, can you tell us about just summarize quickly what you've been doing around boxing, just for people who don't know?
So I served as a professional boxer for 16 years. A year before I retired, I got my trainer's and manager's license. So literally, as I rolled out of fighting, straight into training and managing. And this has been me for 5 years now, training managing.
So hopefully later you can plug some of your fighters.
Yeah.
Big them up.
How have you been enjoying it, Robert?
Have I been enjoying it?
Yeah.
This is me, man. This is what I love to do. So yeah, all day. This is me.
And you're making new little connections. I've been watching.
Yeah.
I actually went to his gym. He's got a gym, and he was putting his boys through a workout, and I was like, oh my god. And Robert's still in good shape, and I'm sure he can still make a comeback. Oscar De La Hoya, where are you? No, Jake.
Robert, did you do Prize Fighter? Did you win Prize Fighter?
Yeah, that was in 2011.
Right, you see the memory, man. Because
Yeah,
I remember seeing this guy and thinking, hold on a second, he's got some skill, you know. He was thumping up some people. I was like, hold on a second, yeah. And then I find out this is the guy here. So he had some shit going on, without a doubt. Don't sleep on him.
Yeah, for sure. Anyway, guys, here's the structure of the show. We're just gonna it's boxing roundup. Obviously, if you haven't heard, there's a big fight this weekend, big domestic fight that is between Amir Khan and Kell Brook. But before that, we're just going to round up because we haven't done the show for a few months, and hopefully we'd like to be doing the show a bit more regular than this. So hopefully you guys will pump out the show, people watching, pump it out, and give us a shout out. So first of all, just going to do a little mini roundup. Stop me, guys, if you want to jump in and talk about these fights. Lomachenko, he lost obviously he lost his belts to who was it now?
Lopez.
That's it, Lopez.
Teofimo Lopez, yeah.
Yeah. Do you think that was a fair result?
Yes.
In a word?
Absolutely on that particular fight. I mean, it was competitive.
Yep.
But Loma himself, in my opinion, just didn't do enough throughout the fight. Okay. He allowed Lopez to get off enough punches for enough rounds to take the decision and me to be happy with that, personally.
Do you guys agree with that?
Agreed. Yeah, too little, too late.
Okay. So
yeah, I thought Loma in the second half of the fight he came on quite strong. But I mean, the first 6 rounds, I don't know where he was at. You know, he didn't do enough work, so he had a lot of catching up to do.
I think maybe it tarnishes his legacy. He's only had a few fights, but he's been built up as like one of the greatest thing, high tech, and no one's ever seen anything like this before. But I don't know. I'm not so sure about that. But obviously, he made a comeback recently. He beat up Richard Comley, and in December, so he's back in the lightweight scene. And the lightweight division is like hot right now, isn't it?
I'll tell you what, Zach. I think I think his team took a bit of a gamble, Araman, whatever, and they saw what they knew the public would regard as an exciting fight. And they thought, you know what? If we can take this guy while he's still young, we can make the money. The public will swallow the fight. They're happy with that. And we'll come away with victory. And it was almost a step or even a weight class too far for Lomachenko at that particular point in his career, I see, including the fact that Lopez was that little bit better than he thought.
But Lopez hasn't stayed at the division now. He's looking to move up, isn't he? So he was always going to struggle to stay there. Are you suggesting that Lomo's fighting above his
yeah, absolutely. Weight? I don't think he's at the most comfortable weight in that class. But I'm sure we understand you get to a certain age and you just don't want to do certain weights all the time, which is why you kind of move up. So when you factor in his skill set, you know, elite, super elite skill set, all the rest of it, he clearly thought this one makes sense. Lopez has got a lot of hype. He's young. He's strong. It's going to be an exciting fight. People are going to enjoy watching it. And I'm going to come away with a win.
So, for Robert, who else is in that division that excites you? What sort of matchups would you like to see in that lightweight division?
But like that was a win-win for Barbaram because it was a great fight to make, and regardless of the winner, if Lomachenko won it, you know, young pup, he can come back, he can go on again. But if Lopez wins it, you know, he goes on like superstardom. So that's definitely a win-win for Bob. I love Tank Davis. I think he's a brilliant talent. I think he's the one out of the 4 to look out for.
Can you name the 4 for the viewers, please? So it's going to be Tank Davis,
Ryan Garcia, and Devin Haney. And sorry, now George Kambosos as well.
Forget Garcia. Kambosos, Garcia, because he's YouTube off with flipping depression because he's been seeking too much attention.
Yeah.
right? Getting Kell on the net and everything else, and messing this shit up, and not fighting, but making a load of noise and looking.
Yeah, so we could replace him with George Kambosos.
Yeah.
What do you think of George Kambosos, Zico?
I was impressed with his performance. He beat Lopez, and I was really impressed. I'm not too sure if Lopez underestimated him or had his eye on the Devin Haney fight, or maybe another thing, maybe Lopez was already thinking about moving up to the division because maybe it's tough for him making that weight. He does look kind of big. Even when he fought Lomachenko, I thought he looked like a real bigger man. Like he shouldn't be in that. So maybe he's been struggling to stay at that weight for a while. But nonetheless, it's a good win for Kambosos. He's very determined type of fighter, and he doesn't waste any real punches.
Well, he's got the belts right now, hasn't he?
Yeah, and I'm hearing that the Devin Haney fight is going to be made soon.
But in Australia, he's saying do you think that's an advantage for him to take it to Australia? Do you think he's going to be favoured there?
I think he deserves to take it to Australia after winning those 4 belts. And I believe that Devin Haney, it's not going to be an issue for him. He's always wanted to be unified, undisputed. So I think he'll take the fight and go to Australia. And I think Devin Haney should do the job on him because I think he's
okay. I'll tell you what, plot twist.
He's the best one.
I question that,
right? Because if you watch how Kambosos has been acting on the net in terms of the fight with Haney, he's looking at a super fight with Lomachenko. Yeah, he's saying, Haney, you can marinate in the background for a little while. You're not that important, brother. You're not that important. And Haney's not really an exciting fighter, to be honest. Yeah. So if you're talking the right moves, bums on seats, how you're going to make money, all right, worldwide profile, forget Haney.
Lomachenko there.
I'm going to disagree because I think Haney's got the WBC belt. So he's George Kambosos, he's going to want to be undisputed. To be undisputed in the division, that's saying something a lot to have all the belts. Then you could call out anyone and demand any fight. So go on.
I absolutely agree. All I'm saying is I'm going off how Kambosos has been swerving, has been buoying off Haney over the net, over Twitter. Yeah. He's like, mate, you're not that important. Seriously.
No, I got it as like there was a kind of mutual respect between Kambosos' dad and Haney's dad and all that. I think there was a level of respect there.
I can link you the videos and you go.
It's not like Haney is like all risk, no reward. He's got the reward. He's got.
I can link you the videos and you go, okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, but I get what you're saying. On the other hand, because I think there could be a plan to maybe have the fight at a later date or something like that. But I just don't. To have an opportunity to be undisputed, I don't think no one would really want to turn that down.
Yo, Rob, do you think there's a feeling here that George has got one fight in him and he's going to lose the belt? He's just going to try and maximize as much money as possible against anyone if he takes one of these top 4 that we mentioned.
I don't think that's in his mindset. Like as fans, I think we can go with that, but for him, that's not his mindset.
Yeah,
no,
that's what I think. Yeah, he's determined.
Yeah.
That was the purest display from a fighter that I've got in my memory against Lopez.
Yeah,
that's how impressed I was by Kambosos in the fight.
I'm proud of that. Did he beat Lee Selby?
Physically, he was at what he was at one he was in the zone.
Yeah.
Wasn't going to be denied.
Even in the press conference before, I felt that there was this aura of confidence that he was really going to go after him.
But my thing is, where does that confidence come from? He's only beat Lee Selby. I watched the fight with Lee. Was it Lee Selby he beat?
Yeah.
That? And I thought, okay, that's his level. Some of these guys, yeah. And I thought that's his level. I didn't see him able to beat these guys. I'm shocked.
He himself told us he's come through the hardest way possible.
Yeah.
With his father, from nothing, the small holes, the fights where he wasn't even a B, he was a Z side. He's come through all that shit. So his mind is Teflon. I'm going with Zico here. I saw Kambosos at the press conference. I thought, mate, this kid's deluded. He's so going to get beaten up.
Yeah.
I was shocked by what I saw. Another level.
Same as that.
So that's the lightweight division. So I'm going to put out of here. I like Devin Haney, man. I don't think Tank's going to stay in the division. I don't think Tank's staying there for the long term. I'm with Devin Haney. So put my hat down with Devin, man.
Devin the Dream Haney.
Go around the room. Who are you going with? Who's going to stay out? When all dust settles, who's going to be the man in that division?
Yeah.
To me, he's like Diet Mayweather.
That's a good one.
It's like there ain't enough. There's too much sucrose in that boxing stuff. Yeah. Devin Sucrose Haney.
Rob, you said Tank. Do you think Tank's going to hang around and get
Tank's too small?
He's a beast. I tell you, he can box, he can fight, he'll take a bang. You know, when it gets hard, like he just bite down. He's got something, you know, to get onto. Like for me, Tank's a man, and he's brilliant to watch.
You know what's interesting? Because Tank fought a guy called Mario Barrios, who Keith Thurman fought at welterweight recently.
Yeah,
so it sort of divides the two divisions. You can see there's a blend there. So Tank, can he move up to welterweight, or is he good? I can't see him hanging around this lightweight. He's too big, even though he's so tiny. You know, he's going to be dwarfed when he goes up a division. So moving on, because Barrios, obviously. We're going to talk about Keith Thurman now, and I like Keith Thurman. He makes me laugh.
Sometimes
he's a good salesman.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Keith sometimes Thurman. Come on.
So, just get an opinion here. Just give a brief summary, guys. What do you think about Keith Thurman? You know about his fights. He's beaten like top guys like Garcia, and I know it's a few years ago. What do you think about him? Let me start with you, Robert.
Because
he's back.
I was becoming a fan of him, but I don't know. There's something missing for me. How old is he now?
33. I don't know. Yeah.
Got the details here. Keith Thurman. Anyone have a guess on that?
33. 34, could be even 35.
33. Yeah, 33 years old.
33.
And he's lost. He's a bit like Samson. He's lost his hair, his ponytail.
For him to come back now in the welterweight division and be competitive, I don't know. There's something missing for me.
Is that now or always been something missing?
No, I mean he was coming along nicely, and then just dropped off. You know, all the opponents was there for him to compete against. And I don't know. I'm not scolding him. I don't think he's going to come back and do much now, especially in the talent pool there is now.
Well, the thing is, he had really good wins against Danny Garcia, first guy to beat Danny Garcia. Then he beat Sean Porter. Then he chose to fight Manny Pacquiao. Now at the time he probably thought Pacquiao's finished or whatever, but it's proved not to be a wise decision.
100%.
Yeah. So and I think
drug testing for that fight. No drug testing for that fight.
Yeah. After Pacquiao, I think he was avoiding Crawford and Spence, and that's why he tried to go to Pacquiao, and then he lost that, and he didn't want to fight Crawford or Spence because that's just even more risky. So I think that's why he's taking this break, and I don't see him coming back. You know, Crawford and Spence are going to dominate the division for the next 2 years. I can't see him breaking into that.
Sorry, the Manny Pacquiao fight was 3 years ago, guys. The Sean Porter fight was 2016. Going way back, yeah. He's Robert Garcia Guerrero. Sorry, 2015. He's a long way. That's like 6 years ago. Is he done? Are you saying he's done out here? Has he got? I'm looking at it.
Well, can I give my 2 pence on where he was at?
Say it again, Brian.
Can I give my 2 pence on where I felt he was at?
Yeah, let's hear this.
If I go back about 6 years, to me, at that kind of level below elite, I thought I was seeing this second coming of a Nas type because his athleticism, the speed, the power, he was killing these guys and being extremely dominant. It hasn't transferred, as Robert has said, and Zico, it hasn't transferred at the elite level at all, right? There's a weakness there. For me, he doesn't take
Body punches
him that well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Doesn't take a body shot. He's terrible at taking a body shot.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true.
I remember Collazo hurt him. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Those are inherent weaknesses in his armor. He thought, like Zico laid out, thought it was clever fighting Pacquiao. Yeah. I'll take this little freaking Pinoy guy, you know, all man, tick legs, but the legs are a bit wobbly these days. You know, got knocked down by flipping, mash up by flipping, what's his name? Marquez. Got mashed up by Marquez. You know, I'll take the money, boost up my name. I understand that business-wise, fantastic. But he didn't go for the drug testing. How stupid can he be? And if I'm going to add another chink to his armor, he ain't got no business acumen, clearly.
Rob, I want to ask you, we're talking here about body shots. It's clear Furman, he visibly shows it when he's hurt by the body. Why is that? What, as a boxer, a pro boxer as well, when you got hit to the body, are you poker face? How do you, because he shows it, it's visible, you know, everyone can see that he's hurt. You know, what do you think the issue is there with him? And what can you do to sort of be stone-faced in situations like that?
In training, you have to put yourself through the mill in training, man. You know, I see too often nowadays, people sparring, just doing enough like to get the better in the spar. Whereas you got to expose yourself to, you know, everything possible. So when you come across it at fight night, you've been there already. You get hit with a body shot, you know how to tuck up a little bit, don't show it, and carry on going. But you can't have it all your own way, man. You got to put yourself through every scenario possible.
Robert, how do you find the balance though between I've been in boxing 15 years and I've been sparring in the way you have? How do you find the balance between having something left and leaving too much in the gym?
Good question, yeah.
Yeah, it's a good question. For me, it's like what I see when people sparring, they're not putting the work in. So then they can't transfer a better performance come fight night. For me, you know, you're sparring three times a week, depending on how many rounds you're doing to what you're fighting, to how many rounds you're going to spar. So, you know, if you see like the wear and tear happening, you can put it back a little bit. But let's first get what we need to get from the spar first. Like, don't shy away and cut yourself short. So then you can't.
It sounds to me that you're almost saying, well, you better have a very defined career plan, because we've all seen it. These guys get mashed up in sparring to the point where after 10 years at a top level, it's not there anymore.
Yeah, but what I'm not saying like go in and get mashed up or mash someone up. You know, let's be realistic. You know, let's try and get something from this spar, not just, you know, pitter patter and all right, I've got the most punches, like I didn't get hit. But when you go to fight, someone's trying to take your head off for real, and all of a sudden, like it's a shot.
Yeah.
Or you're getting hit to the body, you're not used to it. Oh, you just take a knee and get out of there. Yeah. You got to go through it in the gym.
So how important is sparring then, like in build up to fights? Because James Toney, for example, he might have hit the heavy bag once. I didn't jog, didn't do anything. Just loved to spar to like sharpen his skills. What's your opinion on sparring then, in balance with all the other things you have to do in boxing?
Everyone's individual, like to get themselves like best possible shape fight night. My opinion is sparring is like top.
Okay, we have to see some spar wars at your gym then.
What about you, Zico? What's your approach to your sparring, or previously?
Previously, I just came from the martial arts background, so that was all my foundation, sparring and all that. But when I started with the martial arts in the class that I went to, because I've been to other martial arts classes before, it was just like I was just doing like punches, kicks in, and you're just hitting air. But when this class that I went to, they said, all right, sparring, and then you're feeling the contact. That's when I was like, all right, this is how it should be. And you know what it's like to be breathing heavy and all that and going rounds. And I thought, yeah, this is the closest thing that you could get to the real thing. So that's why I think sparring is so important.
I went to a Muay Thai class this week.
Yeah.
So I've been twice this week. And yesterday they done sparring. So half of the session was sparring. like I've never been kicked before, but I said, kick me, like let's go. Because if I went to go Muay Thai fight and I'm not used to getting kicked, all of a sudden, so I take my leg, what am I going to do?
Exactly.
I have to condition myself.
You need to feel that contact. You need to have contact. Without contact, you don't know how you're going to be in a real situation.
And then I would imagine you had to, because sorry, I got interrupted for a second. You had, Zico, you probably had to go through what? Very specific conditioning, because you just can't take a shot.
Yeah, of course. There was lots of different conditioning, including like lots of stretching, running, skipping, all of that. And then the finale, the actual black belt grading was really, really hard. I didn't get a rest. It was just constant. I was sparring constantly, and then I was hitting the bag, and I was doing a pattern, a form, which is so tiring, and having to do it with the correct technique. But it was all the conditioning. It was all beneficial, you know.
Amir Khan. There was, I think, before he was fighting Danny Garcia, they showed footage of him sparring in the Wild Card gym. And they were going at it, and he was getting clipped like stupidly. And I think it's a bit wild, isn't it? A bit crazy. Obviously, wearing head guards, you know.
I remember that.
Remember that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Way to go, and they were endorsing, saying, "No, this is perfect for him. This is what it's like." So I don't know. That's why I asked about the balance with the sparring and thing. But we're going to move on, guys, because we need to get on to the main event coming up soon. Chris Eubank, Liam Williams. Anyone see the fight?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. Do anyone want to discuss it? What you saw? Anything special? Where does Chris Eubank go from here? Anyway, he was the winner, by the way. Where does he go from here under Roy Jones' tutelage? How's it looking for him?
The clips that I see is like he's come away from what he does and makes him effective. What I always say, you're better off being the best possible version of yourself rather than like a shit version of Roy Jones. Like a lot of people.
Diet Roy Jones.
Yeah, a shit version of Floyd Mayweather. Change be the best you.
So what's his identity then? What do you think his identity is then, Rob?
Well, his aggressiveness is like, for me, like the flapping around boxing, his last couple of fights, I didn't think suit him at all. If he's going against like Triple G with that boxing, it's not going to work.
Guys, jump in, please. What do you think?
Okay. Conor Ben, we're going to come on to a little later. I look at Eubank Jr. and Ben. These guys are the progeny of some legends. Guys who have been through the mill in boxing, know the business, know boxing, right? I look at them as highly strategic kids. They make moves that is going to make them money to allow them to maximize on their potential. They may not be elite, but they're always looking at what's the best route to make the most money for the best impact. Right? That's how I see Eubank Jr. And for example, that's evidenced by the fact that he's now looking for Golovkin. He ain't calling out anyone else. Yeah, he's mentioning some other people, but he's calling out Golovkin because he knows that Golovkin's on the tail end, and if he gets that victory, it'll be perceived quite well by the flipping casuals and all the rest of it. And it's also going to be a big money fight. So, to my mind, they are always angling. And the other thing about Eubank is that I look at his ignorance within boxing and was always very, very impressed. Ignorant guy. Yeah. He's not going to give up. He's got to be in there fighting. But you looked at his boxing and thought, well, you know what? Your boxing could be so much better than what you do because you seem to shoot in 8 rounds, spread 8 rounds over 12 all the time. Yeah. And he did the same thing against Liam Williams. I mean, if you consider just quickly the fight against Billy Joe Saunders, right? You know, the fight that Billy Joe's hyping up, how he was going to destroy him and he's a novice, which was because Eubank was a novice at that point in time. Yeah. But let's get it right. Eubank, the novice, gave away 6 rounds and then spent virtually a large part of the next 6 rounds thumping up Saunders, including almost getting him round at the end, right? But I'm just saying, for me, Roy Jones has him thinking a bit more, has him a bit more disciplined, but he's still got that inherent, I can only spread 8 rounds into 12.
Kahinde,
yeah,
you agree?
I have to agree with you because I like Eubank Jr. I like his persona and everything. He's got good chat, good talk, very calm on the press conferences and everything else like that. But I just kind of sometimes question his motivations because it's taken him to this point now to get like a proper trainer. I think he was with Adam Booth before briefly about 5 years ago, and I thought that was a good move. Yeah, good move for him because I think Adam Booth could make someone into a world champion. He did it with Andy Lee and all this. And I thought this would be a good move for him, someone that he could listen to. But even Adam Booth apparently walked out the gym because Eubank was not, he was going really hard on the sparring partners and he wasn't listening to Booth. So I'm thinking, who's this guy going to listen to? But I think he's always liked Roy Jones's style. I've always kind of seen that in him. And, we saw glimpses of it against Liam Williams, but he's not consistent enough throughout those 12 rounds. If you're going to win a world title, you need to be more consistent than that, especially if you've got a man hurt, you've got him down 3-4 times. You can't let him back in the fight. Absolutely. And that's just the things that concerns me a little bit about him, whether he could do it at that world level, because twice against Saunders and Groves, he showed he wasn't quite at that level, and he gives away too many rounds. He's got the heart, he's got a great chin as well, just like his father, but needs to work on that jab more, and just the fundamentals. I just think there's something lacking. I'm not sure.
It's almost as if you're saying, totally agree, Zico, that he's got the heart, got the toughness. You are not KOing him easily.
Yeah, I don't think
that's the only way to beat Eubank, right? Yeah. You can outpoint him, but you ain't going to KO him.
Yeah.
But he hasn't got that fortitude to fight. A bit like his dad, to be honest. Even though his dad would fight hard, he hasn't got that 12-round consistency like Zico alludes to.
Yeah.
Rob, what do you think of the Eubank gimmick? Do you think it's a gimmick these guys have? Do you think they've done that by design to create this thing where they're unfazed and a bit arrogant and thing? What do you think about that? Do you think he's pulling it off?
I think that's just how he's brought up. That's just him. But I think trainer-wise, that's just his arrogance that he believed he could do it on his own without any help. He can actually box because I used to spar him before, and back then he was a boxer. Then he went to more like the aggression. And I think if he blended like the original boxing he had with the style that he molded into, with the aggressiveness, he'd be really effective. He can box. He's not a puncher, but the relentlessness is what wears people down and gets them out. I think he can put his foot down and work through the rounds from 1 to 12. But with the new posturing like style what he's going with now, it just doesn't suit him.
I'll tell you what, Robert, I don't think he can because he hasn't shown that, right? I observed him about 5 years ago, and he was releasing some combinations that we hadn't seen since Sugar Ray Leonard. Sorry, I don't care who's listening out there. Yeah? 6, 8, 9 punch combinations. I was like, whoa, this guy, this is crazy. But it's measured. It's always measured. And to agree with you, Robert, no, he didn't show that in the fight against Liam Williams. And at the end, you could tell. You can say we wanted afterwards. You could tell, man, he was puffed out.
He's very good in spurts. In spurts, he's very, very good. He looks very good, but he's got to find a way to dominate rounds, like just maybe off a jab or something, or because he's too inconsistent with what he does.
See, I disagree. Like with his previous fights, you see him, he just get on top of someone and just like a heavy bag, he just keep on working, letting them combinations flow.
Yeah, but who's that against though? At what level? This is what we're talking about. When he steps up to that level, world level fighter, is he going to be able to do that? This is the question.
And I think that's why he holds back, because you yourself, Robert, said, I don't really feel he's a puncher. So he's letting go these flipping machine gun exocet punches, and no one's getting knocked out, right? He's the most virulent puncher I've ever seen that doesn't KO anyone. No, I actually can't understand it.
Yeah.
I agree
There
somewhat.
were times when I'd be watching him and I'm like, ooh, just the punches the other guy was taking, and the man won't drop down. Weebles wobble, but they don't fall down.
I think the only real person who stopped him in his tracks was George Groves, and he just didn't allow him to get into his flow.
Yeah, controlled him with the jab. Yeah.
Outside of that, like even the Billy Joe Saunders fight, you know, he's himself. He's raw. You know, he's a bit unsure if he's going to go through the rounds, so you held off. But then when you got going, it's just like the second half of the fight is just like non-stop.
I'll tell you what,
guys, are we going to see Eubank win a title? Is he world class? Are we going to see him win a title?
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. I'd like to see him win the title. I'm not sure.
It depends who's in the division at the time. If he gets an easy fight, you know, like a vacant title or something.
Style, it doesn't work.
All right, guys, we currently got only 10 likes in the house. If you're watching, stop what you're doing right now. Press the like button and press the subscribe button as well if you're enjoying this. Last fight we're going to talk about before we go on to the big main event this week is a fight from last week. It was Daniel Jacobs versus John Ryder, what they call him, the gorilla. Real strong guy, isn't he? John Ryder. It's that super middleweight. He's gone up now. Obviously, John Ryder won on points. I don't know who saw the fight, but there's a question mark maybe about whether it was the right decision. I'm not sure, but fair play to John Ryder. Where does he go from here? And is Daniel Jacobs, is he over? Is that over for him?
Well, I don't think. I think it was a big risk for Danny Jacobs at this stage of his career to come over to England and take that fight, because I knew that there's a big possibility he'll get robbed, and that's what happened. I mean, Jacobs been in there with the best. He's been in there with Triple G, Canelo, and he went the distance with both of them. And everyone argued against Triple G. He done pretty good, you know. But it's a step down, John Ryder, and coming over here at 35. If you want aspirations to win a title again, it was risky. And from what I saw from the highlights, it looked like he did get robbed. Jacobs, it was a silly move, really, to be honest. And John Ryder's not going.
Excellent points, because I question Jacobs' ambition. He's not a stupid guy. He listens to talk. He's not silly. He came over with Hearn, who's supposed to be representing him, with another Hearn boy at a home show.
Exactly.
Took the money, man.
Yeah.
That's unanimous then.
Yeah. I had Jacobs winning, although he's happy just to do like the bare minimum to get through.
Yeah.
John Ryder done too little too late, I think. But, you know, John Ryder can move on like from now. With Jacobs, I'm not too sure.
Hearn, for me, Fast Eddie had his plans.
Yeah, I agree.
And Jacob took the gamble and now realized what Hearn can be about.
Wow. Big fight now. Let's talk about the big one. I know everyone's been waiting for this one, man. Come on, let's go. Main event. Let's get ready now to rumble. This one.
Let me toss that one. Let me toss it.
Let me build this up. For me, I mean, Rob, you're almost welterweight, aren't you? You fought at this sort of.
I'm too far from welterweight now.
Yeah, now. Yeah. When you're in your prime, you were light welterweight. So this is around your region as well.
I was a welter. Yeah.
Okay. So 147. So I'm looking at two guys, and now they're fighting, and obviously you can pick faults in both of them. But I've always liked Kell Brook. I thought he was solid. I thought he was a good boxer. I just thought he took his time too long to get to that big stage before he fought Sean Porter. I thought, why are you wasting time getting fighting these guys? You should have been up there from time. You know, what's holding you back? I don't know. There's so many question marks with this guy, because talent-wise, I thought he had all the talent. So over to you guys. Build up this fight for us. Build up this fight. There's so many things to talk about in the press conference the other day. So many things going on. Mental, spiritual, end of the career. Anyway, just start off. Someone start this off, because I'm interested to hear from you guys, because I still don't know who's going to win.
I'm 50-50 on that. And despite everyone saying that it's well over, gone past the due date, the interest is there. It's really been built. I'm looking forward to the fight. And I have it 50-50. I'd lean slightly towards Kell. From what I see, most of the majority is going towards Khan. But I believe Kell. I still think he's got a lot left to give, Kell. You know, during sparring fights, he's never been beaten up. You know, he had the 2 fights with his eyes, Golovkin and Spence. But outside of that, he hasn't really got the wear and tear, I don't believe. Whereas Amir, you know, we've seen what's happened. But, you know, he's still got his fast hands. I don't believe his body's, you know, going to keep up with his style. And I just pip Brook. Just.
Guys, talk to me.
Okay. I think anyone objective has to be 50-50, but here's the imponderables for me. I look at Khan, and he's been so fragile the last 3-4 years. So fragile. Brook, we know he's losing a little spice, but Khan, Phil LaGreco, people used to talk about Khan's chin. I would argue, Zach knows this anyway. I would argue, he hasn't got a glass chin. He's spent years having a glass forehead, a glass cheekbone, but he didn't have a glass chin. But Phil LaGreco, little Phil, cracked that chin about 4 or 5 years ago. I watched Khan in that fight. Every time he got touched, he was shaky. I fucking crack at it. All right? It was crazy stuff, man. So you can't come forward 5 years and tell me you've got Kell Brook, right? Now, I will caveat that slightly. But right now, for me, if I have to say all things being equal, Khan ahead early on because of the speed, 3-4 rounds, right? Brook not taking that much punishment because he's a very disciplined boxer with a good IQ. And then once you get down 3-4 rounds, because I don't believe Khan is ever stopping Brook. I don't believe it, yeah? The weight draining thing could be an issue, but I don't believe, all things being equal, he's doing that. But past 4 rounds, you can't tell me that Brook can't find 1 or 2 times that you're just going to see Khan dissipate. So I'll come on to my caveat. I'm surprised that Brook made that freaking weight the way he did because he doesn't look good. At his age, it cannot be healthy. And I just pray to God that he's done all the right nutrition to be able to rehydrate effectively enough to have the stamina he will need in that fight. Yeah? Because if Khan's still in there after 8 rounds, I'm probably concerned.
Wow. Kehinde.
Yeah, it's really tough one to call. I'd still say it's 50-50 because none of them have been fighting consistently over the last few years. And you just don't know what they've got left because they haven't had a solid fight over the last few years as well, like a good solid 12-rounder against decent opposition. And I think, like, if you were talking about 6-7 years ago, like when Brook just beat Porter and Khan beat Devin Alexander, but that's the last time that Khan really looked good. The 12 rounds against Devin Alexander, he really, did a number on him. And I thought from there, he just chose the wrong fights because he was always looking for a Mayweather fight or big fight. He chose Canelo next and all that. So it's like he's always, you got to rate Khan because he never steps down from big challenge. But
his resume is amazing.
Exactly. And the guys that he's fought. And, I think both of them daring, Brook chose to fight Triple G when he didn't have to do that. But I just feel that it's really tough to call because I have to favor Brook a bit because I think he's got the time in and I think he probably wants it more. It seems like he's always wanted this fight. And I think Khan might run out of gas. He's probably not as fast as he used to be. So he might do good in the early rounds. But I think Brook might win late on and start to time in. And,
if boxing was 6 rounds, Khan's a freaking ATG.
Yeah, because it's hard to win rounds against Amir when he's in his pomp and he's throwing all those punches. It's hard to win rounds against him.
No power, but just loads of speed.
Yeah. Look at Canelo. Like Canelo just timed him, but it's like everyone's like, oh yeah, he's winning rounds, but Canelo was just
timing him. I see the same with Kell.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kell's timing is beautiful.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So but I feel either way, whoever wins, whatever, it's going to be their last fight because there's no way they can't go anywhere from here. Even if Brook wins convincingly or Khan wins convincingly, they're not good enough for the divisions that they are in, like to compete at the highest level anymore.
Yeah.
So I just think
they kind of know that, I think they know that. Yeah,
it's a big money fight. And everyone's, Khan's been smart about making people wait for it. Yeah. And I reckon it'll be their last fight.
I watched Khan playing with Brook's head for the last 6 years. I used to laugh and take the piss on Facebook. Yeah. Khan's at it again, man. Head up and agitated, and Khan's just laughing his ass off, man, with his millions and doing his stuff on the internet and everything else,
But he Khan always every time that fight was gonna go somewhere, Khan would find a fight, whether it would be Canelo or Crawford or whatever. He'll find a bigger fight and say, "Well, look, these guys, they've got bigger name than Kell." It's
a massive fight. It's a massive fight.
He'll always find a reason to say why you shouldn't fight him. So
that's a great impression, bro.
You don't need to fight him, though, bro.
Yeah.
I think, Rob, have you ever sparred with any of these guys?
I was actually meant to fight Kell Brook back in the day.
What?
But I was
What's the story?
I was a little bit further in my career when he was coming along, so I didn't get made in the end.
Oh my God! Sorry, Rob. Can you just briefly tell us why you and Ashley Fairfane never had a fight? I know you went off to America.
Just quickly.
Just very brief. Yeah, because he fought Adrian Broner. And I just think, same weight class.
What with Ashley?
Yeah, Ashley fought Adrian Broner. He was able to go to America, but I think he should have probably had a fight with you before he went off to America.
We was picked to fight a couple of times, but it never happened. But no, I've got a lot of respect for Ashley, what he achieved in his career. Because
good guy.
Like not disrespectful, but I don't think he's the best boxer. He hasn't got the best attributes, but what he done for himself, a lot of kids are gonna pop to him, man.
Very close Facebook mate of mine.
Yeah.
He's doing good now. He's doing similar to you. He's got a He's training.
You got to respect him, man.
Yeah,
he maximized his potential for sure.
Yeah, to sign up with Mayweather. But he was another guy like you, Bank. You just don't know if you get to that level, that world level. But going back to Brook and Khan, they've done it. They've, So.
Do you feel you could have beaten Kell? Just wondering.
Who, me?
Yeah,
man. You can't tell me anyone. I say no, I can't beat them.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the mindset that you got.
I would have whipped him.
You see the black man come out. You see it.
Yeah.
Oh my days! I can't see. That's amazing. I mean, to see those sort of fights, they could have been made, like you say, Ashley, Kell. And even what about Conor Benn? What do you think about Conor Benn? Because I think Conor Benn will pick off one of these two guys as a name fighter because he's not quite ready for the world level, as we were discussing before the show. Not that we're going to move on to Conor, but these guys are all in the mix. And I think Amir Khan obviously has got a great opponent in Kell because there's nowhere else to go really for those two. But I've heard Conor Benn calling out these guys as well.
Conor Benn is maximizing on his name, on his brand. Yeah. He's making some serious moves and he can put himself in those positions because of that name. We all know objectively that he's at a certain level at this point in time. And he's actually.
Can we talk about that, Brian? Can you sort of delve into that a bit more, like we say about the situation in division? Again, a lot of the public don't really understand. They think he's world class and ready.
Yeah, well, I'll reiterate because Eubank Jr. and Ben come from legends and their fathers are steeped in boxing and they know the business side of it. You can just sit back and watch the moves they're making. Ben is fighting, and fairly so, I think, based on where he's come from, his trajectory. He's fighting guys who have a bit of a name but are either too small or they're too old, and he's building his name that way. That's perfect. That's the way you would do it, especially if you've got a name. Again, I give him credit for potentially overachieving at this particular point in time. He's starting to irritate me a little bit, as if he's talking as if he's the second coming of Naz or something, right? But I do accept that he's got a job to do and he's doing it very well, because both him and Eubank, they've got the chat, like Zico said, very bright, very intelligent guys. And he's doing what he has to do, and he's calling Brook and whatever out. I mean, I don't even know. I think he'd have a fight against Brook. I don't think he could beat Brook even at this stage, potentially. I really don't.
Interesting that. What do you think, Rob? Well, wait.
I think he's got a gift what most people wouldn't get, like with his name, like getting with Eddie Hearn, being built the way he's being built. But I give it to him. He's taken that gift and he's run with it. He's putting in work. He does graft. So fair play to where he's gotten 100%. To. Yeah.
Little bro.
Yeah, I think like he's been managed quite well, and I think it's like Kell's rise to get to that title shot. He was managed really well, and when he took the Sean Porter fight, he was able to pull it off. But I think this is what's happening with Conor, because those two guys in the welterweight division, like I said, Spence and who's the other guy, Crawford. I feel like they're elite guys. They're like, such a level above Conor right now.
Easy.
So I think he's going to have to wait a couple of years before he's, one of them retires or, vacates or something like that. That's why he's trying to hype up a Eubank fight, because he knows it's a big money fight because of the two names. Eubank's not even in his division. But
is that realistic?
Yeah, it is. But I think it's smart because it's a diversion, because he knows that he's not ready for a world title fight. So he's going to create this diversion and say, let's meet at a catch weight, Chris Eubank, and have a legendary fight just like our fathers did.
Eubank couldn't make 156 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Right? And Ben's chatting about, so Ben knows this. Ben's doing, look, they are so freaking savvy at that level. He's just getting column inches, building the name, building anticipation. There's no chance of them. What could happen is Eubank's retired for 2 years, right? And Ben is just off the edge of his career, and then they go and decide and do it at, say, middleweight. Ben, bit tubby by now, goes up and does a middleweight, and they make some generational wealth in about 5-6 years' time.
Yeah.
But right now, Ben is just fronting, man. He's just doing what it takes to keep that name out there. They've all seen you, Conor McGregor's. They know what it kind of takes, and he gets massive brand recognition, as we all acknowledge here. So credit to him. He's doing the job the right way. He's a bright kid.
Guys, we're winding up the show now, but let's just focus back on the main event this weekend. Look, I've had to change my mind after listening to you guys talk. I'm changing my mind. I'm not entirely sure now. I said Kell, but after the weigh-in, and you said what you talking about the weigh-in, maybe being drained. Like the week of the fight, you can always assess better about who's going to win. I think with the head-to-head, even though it was a few weeks ago, and the press conference they had the other day, I think Kell is a little bit rattled. He's getting booed by the Manchester crowd, that kind of thing. And just his spirit doesn't, there's a question mark, a little lump in his throat, maybe. Maybe I'm not a body mind reader or body language reader or anything like that, but I'm starting to sense, that's why I'm really intrigued by the fight. And I'm going to stop what I'm doing on Saturday night to tune in. But I'm going to say Kell by controversial decision, and then a rematch where they get more money or something like that. Can we just have a final verdict on the fight, and then I'm going to ask to plug your business, guys.
Okay, I'll throw in. If Kell is not drained, I can't see how he doesn't catch Amir and his fragility.
So knockout for Kell.
I think he can stop him. I think he can TKO him. Possibly even knock him out, yes.
Are you guys willing to come back maybe
mid to
Sunday
late.
night and do an aftermath?
I'll come back, and I'm gonna say the fight goes the distance. I don't think Kell will knock Amir out. I don't think they'll knock out either of each other. I think it will probably go the distance because I don't think they've got it in them like to really push for that knockout. I think they're both really probably finished. They might coast a couple of rounds. You know, this is what I believe anyway. I don't think they've got it anymore.
And that's why I said if he had his brain, because I did not like how he looked in those scales at this age.
But people, this is what I'm saying. People talk about Amir, his chin and all that. I've seen him take some really bad, tough shots, you know, and still carry on against Maidana and everything, and even Danny Garcia when he got up and all this. So
he was gone.
Yeah, he was gone. But I mean, he got up.
Right, let's get something right though. In the Maidana fight,
Kell's last few fights since the Triple G fight, he hasn't looked the same fight at all. There looks like a vulnerability there, like with when he beat Crawford, Sean Crawford. You know, he was controlling him and timing him, controlling whenever Crawford tried to come in, he was catching him with the jab and all that. And he looked more of a solid guy. But now, since that Triple G fight, then the Errol Spence afterwards and all that, he looks like he's got quit in him. And he did it. It's the same with the last fight as well. He's quit kind of with the eye and
Khan against
yeah, that's what I'm saying. So there's vulnerabilities in both of them. And they're both finished, so that's why it's so tough to call. But I'm going to edge it to Kell by a decision. I think Kell's going to work Khan out after 4 or 5 rounds and maybe dominate the late rounds.
I can't see. Kell is going to touch that chin. And remember, I was arguing against the chin accusations for years.
Yeah.
Until I saw when it happened, man. And as Kell says, that poppadom is cracked, mate. It's popping out.
Wait, racist.
Yeah.
But Rob, did you give your prediction?
I think the fight's going to live up to the hype.
Oh, good.
So good. I think there's going to be a stoppage, and I think it's going to go in Brook's favour.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think they're both going to put in work. It's going to be a nice fight to watch. And I don't think any of them will hold up with the pace. I see Brook coming out on top.
Well said.
Stoppage.
Guys, all right. We're come up to an hour. We're going to wind it down now. But I'm just going to go to each of you. And I want you to tell us a little something about the show. Try and plug it for us. Tell the fans to come back or the people watching to come back and watching again. Robert, when I come to you, I want you to tell us about your young gems. And tell us when your next events are, plug the hell out of them, you know. Name them out, you know. So, little bro, you enjoy the show?
Yeah, enjoyed the show. I think I want people to tune in more. Obviously, we've got the football thing, the Man United agenda, but this is a boxing thing. It doesn't come around that often, and I think we should try and get a weekly show on, and people should start tuning in because fights are exciting, man. You know, you could talk about fights all day. You could talk about fantasy fights and everything else like that. You know, boxing doesn't come every week. So, yeah, I want people to get on board and start supporting the show. And we get special guests like Robert Lloyd on here, former pro boxer. You know, no one else has got that insight, you know. So, yeah.
And great observation, Zeke, today. Beej, Brian, thank you so much. Love your wisdom, man. Tell us all about it.
Look. Really happy, Zach, because obviously, like I said, it's your grind as well. So very much appreciate that, especially after all that's been going on out there with our little narrative manipulations. I'm very happy to actually interact with some people because even now, a lot has changed around me. I've moved and all this kind of stuff. So it's been beautiful coming on here. The spirit's been damn good. I mean, we've got Zico inventing Sean Crawford. I was like, who the Ross is he? It's good, man.
Sean Porter.
Yeah, I said, broke his nose. Come on, man.
Yeah. I know I said something wrong. Yeah. Sean Porter.
Did you see us all go?
Yeah.
No, all love, man. All love.
Yeah, man.
I missed that completely.
Yeah,
I'm gonna snip it, that one.
Yeah.
You're still sharp, Brian. You're still sharp, man. And Robbie, I want you to endorse what you're doing, man, because you've got enough young fighters. Where they're fighting, give us some names, tell us about them, and where we can hit you up.
Yeah, firstly, like, I've enjoyed it. Like, I was tired. It's been a long day today, but I really enjoyed myself. It's good to hear Zico's point of view. Like, he's got knowledge on boxing. It's good to hear. Beach, I mean, the wisdom I always see on Facebook. I love reading his posts.
Yeah,
and
that big mouth Ross.
Yeah. No, it was good to talk alongside. Zach, I don't know if you met Zach's before, Beach, but
yeah, not met him, no,
not in person.
Big friendly giant. He's just a ball of happiness, positivity, and when you're around him, you can't feel anything but happiness and positivity. Yeah, great man. So big up.
Needs a few more gal.
If you're out there, ladies, it's not too late. Valentine's next week. It's not too late.
Me and my two dog. Me and my two dog.
So
what about your young talents there, man?
Yeah, so
including your son.
Yeah. So I've got amateur set up, the professional set up. First off, I'll start with my son. He's 19. He's got aspirations of being a professional. He always says he wants to better me, go on and achieve more, which I hope he does, and I'm sure he will. He started off. He's really talented. He's got natural ability. He hits hard. He's got a good IQ. But he didn't get off to the best of starts. But he's found his feet, or finding his feet, and that train's starting to get going now. So I believe you see good things with him in the near future.
What's his name? Give us his name so we can shout him out.
Robert Lloyd Taylor Jr.
Chris, you
I told you behind the scenes he's got an ego, didn't I?
Yeah, we'll be rooting for you, little young Rob. We say Diet Rob, is it?
Yeah.
Robert Max.
Yeah. After him, I've got a couple of amateurs, and then I've got my professional setup. I've got Fuad Hussein, the Pirate.
Boy.
He's 8-0, super bantamweight. I've got Bradley Townsend. He's 8-0. He's a welterweight. They're both boxing soon. I've got Lewis Lights Out Lai. He's exciting, super middleweight.
Lights out.
Yeah. He's 4-0. I've got Aaron Sinclair, 4-0, bantam. What else I've got? So I've got a few. I did have the promotional company going, but then COVID come along. So we had our second show cancelled a week before lockdown. And I just haven't started that back yet. I'm going to wait until, the dust settles before I start picking back up with the shows again.
Okay. And the young guy you mentioned, the Pirate, is he one of is Somali?
Yeah.
So is he one of the only Somali boxers out there? I haven't seen many Somali boxers out there.
Enough of them have popped up now. There's a few on the scene now.
Brilliant.
I think he's further along in his career than the others. The phone's putting me off. But yeah, he's doing well. He's 8-0. He'll be out March or April time. He boxed last November, I believe. But now hopefully all the dust settling with all this nonsense going on, and we just get the train running again.
Has he got the Somali community behind him? Did he get sell a lot of tickets?
Yeah, Fu's a very charismatic character, very likable. So it's not only Somali communities he's got behind him. You know, everyone loves Fu. He's a good guy.
I used to train in the gym with him. He was little spark. Yeah, he was a great little character. Good. So good. He's still unbeaten as well. So yeah, definitely be reaching out for him. Any bigger events? Then you said you got there both fighting on the same bill soon.
No, not in the same bill. They're on different shows. Okay. Bradley's from Oxford, so he'll be boxing around that way. Whereas Fu's going to be more West London or kind of based.
And how can people follow these guys? How can we find out about their next fights?
My Instagram is @RobsLT, ROBZLT. Facebook, Robert Lloyd Taylor. I'm always posting about them guys, so you'll always find them on my page. The Pirate, Bradley Townsend, Junior, Lewis Lights Out Lie. All my boxes you find on my page easy.
Okay. Excellent. Guys, make sure you tune in and support the local legend that is Robert Lloyd Taylor. I just want to say big up to Brian James, man. Thank you so much for coming on. Hopefully we see you guys very soon and make this a regular thing. Big up, little bro. Thanks again for your brilliant contributions. I hope everyone enjoys the fight this weekend, and put in the comments after the show who you think is going to win and why as well. You don't have to listen to us. We don't mind if you say Khan, even though we all disagree. You know, it's going to be a great night. It's going to be a great night. Sorry guys, any good undercard fights on that bill this weekend?
I haven't got a clue.
I haven't got a clue either. It's all about Khan.
I haven't heard.
Yeah. I've only heard Natasha Jonas.
Anyway, yeah.
He's got a title shot, so I want her to win.
Maybe we'll do a show on women's boxing because I've got a lot to say about that. I think it's.
Like, if you're watching people like Clarissa Shields and she's claiming she's the GOAT and all that, I think I'm starting to take a little bit of an interest. I'm trying to see. Yeah.
It's growing, and it's
the one you've got on the undercard is the blonde with the boob job. The wonky boob job.
I'm going to check it out now. I'm sure you sold it out, right? I can't do this now. Anyway, guys, thank you for tuning in. And once again, it's a fantastic show. It's great to have you guys on the panel. Hopefully, we'll be seeing your faces again real soon. This has been the Ringside Seat. And make sure you tune in and subscribe to Sky Sports. Don't stream the fight. Watch it properly. Put the money back into the sport. I'm sure Sky put their money back into the sport as well.
Anybody want the streaming link? A good one, right?
I'll give you it. Hit up B. But yeah, God bless everyone. God bless everyone. Yeah. Thanks for tuning in and share the show. Give us a shout out.
Yeah, pleasure. Thank you.
Later.